When I entered high school, it was the same kind of thing because I was still in New Hampshire, and the teachers there had the same functions as the teachers in middle school. But I was only there for 9th grade. We moved again. And where did we move? We moved back to New Mexico, where there were no services again. And of course, right around that time, I'm like 15 years of age, raging hormones, starting to think about dating, starting to think about girls, and so I think my grades kind of slipped a little bit. But my father and my stepmother were back together again, so we did have that family life. But I felt like I didn't know my mother really well. And so I asked my dad at the end of 10th grade if I could move to live with my mother. And that's how I ended up in Georgia. So Georgia really defines for me living in the Southeast, which is why I'm here now. So in Georgia, I was in another situation where there weren't a lot of support services. I think I was one of 2 students in the entire school with hearing loss. Both of us had hearing aids, but neither one of us signed. And so I didn't see another deaf person again until I was in college. But in high school, all the things that my grandparents taught me in middle school, I kept up. I mean, I couldn't go to my mother and say, hey, help me with this calculus problem. There was none of that. It really was up to me to keep my grades up. And so I graduated from high school with a 3.67 GPA. Okay? So it's perfectly doable, but it takes people, the right people, to teach those skills. And to give, the child a sense of pride and ownership. Teach them what you can. So here's the funny thing about high school. Believe it or not a single person, including my parents, ever asked me what I was going to do after I graduated. It's kind of beyond me, because we all kind of ask that question, don't we? What do you want to be when you grow up? I don't remember anyone ever asking me that. And maybe it's because they saw, well, he's doing well. I mean, he's talented, he skateboards, he plays piano, he draws, he's doing a little bit of computer programming. He's probably going to turn out just fine. But it's like, wow, I mean, nobody ever asked me, what do you want to do? What is the next step? I was already a senior in high school, and my next step was, I don't know, keep working in a fast food restaurant, because I'm really good at cooking Chinese food. I'm not kidding. My mother and stepfather had a Chinese restaurant. And so I learned the in and outs of that restaurant. I mean, I did everything from being cashier, to being a server, to being a cook, to being able to cut a 50-pound bag of onions in 20 minutes. Ever tried that? No. Really proud of that skill. Whenever we would get food delivered to us, 100-pound bags of rice, I would be the one that takes them upstairs for storage. I mean, I knew that restaurant in and out. And so I was like, okay, I have a skill that I could potentially use for the rest of my life. But it's like, not that there's anything wrong with the food industry. It's not that. It's the whole idea that there wasn't anybody asking, do you want to go to college? Do you want to further your knowledge? I mean, even if I did stay in the food industry, how about going to college and getting a hotel management degree or a restaurant management degree or something? Nobody was asking questions like that. So here I am in English class, and another student comes by, and there's always those students who are runners from the principal's office or whatever. So the student comes in, hands the teacher a note, Sam, you need to go to the principal's office. I'm like, I've never been to the principal's office before. Am I in trouble? Did I do something wrong? I mean, it's just, okay. So I take my little note, I'm walking over there to the principal's office, the receptionist is there and says, oh, so-and-so wants to talk to you. So, okay, it's not the principal, it's somebody else, I don't know what's going on. I go into this room, and it's a guidance counselor. The guidance counselor has my file in front of him, he opens it up, and he says, Sam, you've got really good grades. What do you want to do with your life? I don't know. Says, well, do you realize you qualify for some scholarships? No. So he and I fill out some applications, and I ended up getting a scholarship for college. So given that it was already kind of late in the year and graduation was coming up, there was a college literally 3 blocks from my house, a community college, 2-year college program, and I enrolled. And I got the scholarship, but also around the same time there was the Georgia lottery. So if you had at least a 3.0 and you graduated from high school, you can get this money, but you have to maintain a 3.0 through college to keep the money. So here I go to a 2-year college with absolutely no support, no disability services office. And the thing that changes is when you're under 21 years of age, or if you graduated from high school, some of the law stops. There's no one looking after your kids. There's no one saying, oh, we need to come up with an IEP. You literally are, as a young adult, on your own. But there are other laws. So you need to learn about what those laws are. So those laws basically will say things like, if you're going to go to college or you take a job, there are reasonable accommodations that are expected by employers who are teachers. Okay? And so I didn't know that at the time, right? So I didn't know to ask for anything that I needed. So remember I said I was a 3.67 student in high school? I dropped to a 2.8 student in my first year of college. And so something obviously wasn't working. And so around the time I was due up for some new hearing aids, and perhaps my poor grades in my freshman year were due to the fact that I wasn't getting adequate input. So I ended up going to a brand new audiologist that I'd never seen before because I just moved in with my mom. And he had some audiograms from past tests. And so he's looking at it and he's like, oh wow, this guy's deaf. Audiologists do say that from time to time.